You know that feeling? That deep, nagging sense that something's just wrong with you. It's this feeling you just can't shake, no matter what you do or what you achieve. Well, today we're going to dig into where that feeling really comes from, especially for anyone who's been through childhood abuse. And we'll talk about a pretty surprising tool, compassion, that might just be the key to healing. So let's dive in. This feeling, wow, it's captured so perfectly in these words from a woman named Emily. Her experience is such a powerful place to start because, let's be honest, so many people can relate to this. It's that feeling, right, of not being able to stand up for yourself, this deep sense of unworthiness that just seeps into every relationship, every single interaction you have. So the big question is, where does a feeling this deep, where does it actually come from? Because this isn't just about having low self-esteem. No, it's something way, way deeper, and it's rooted in our earliest experiences. Okay, so to find the source, we've got to go back. We have to listen to the echoes of childhood. See, the stories we tell ourselves when we're kids just to make sense of our world, they don't just vanish. They become this quiet, constant soundtrack playing in the background of our adult lives. Okay, this is where the psychology gets really fascinating. Think about it from a kid's perspective. It's absolutely terrifying and makes zero sense that the very people who are supposed to protect you are the ones causing you pain. So, to create some kind of order in that chaos, a child's brain does this really tragic mental math. It goes something like this. If they're the good ones, then I must be the bad one. And hey, maybe if I can just be good enough, the bad stuff will stop. It's a survival strategy, plain and simple. And you can see how that pattern just keeps building, right? That core belief from childhood, I am bad, it doesn't just go away. It gets baked right into your identity. And then, as an adult, it shows up as this constant nagging feeling of unworthiness. So when something good happens, maybe a great partner comes along or you get a promotion at work, it actually feels uncomfortable because it just doesn't line up with that old story you've been telling yourself for years. All right, this brings us to what might be the single most important distinction in this entire conversation. Getting your head around the difference between shame and guilt, honestly, it's often the first giant leap toward real healing. And this lays it out so clearly. Let's break it down. Guilt, that's about your behavior. It's the feeling of, I did a bad thing. But shame is about your identity. It's the belief that I am bad. See the difference? Guilt makes you afraid of being punished, but shame makes you terrified of being abandoned, just for being you. It's this core feeling that you're fundamentally flawed and just not worthy of being connected to other people. So why? Why do victims so often turn this inward and blame themselves? Well, it's because the feeling of being completely and utterly helpless, it's one of the most painful things a person can experience. It's actually, in a twisted way, less painful for our minds to feel guilty, to think, I caused this, because that gives us a fake sense of control. And that feels safer than facing the terrifying, shameful truth that we were powerless. And living with this kind of deep-seated shame, it's not a passive thing. Oh no, it is an active force. It shapes your behavior, and it comes with an incredibly high price tag, affecting pretty much every single area of your life. Yeah, shame doesn't just sit there quietly. It screams through our actions. It can look like constant people-pleasing, trying to earn the worthiness you don't feel. Or it can look like self-sabotage, because deep down you just don't believe you deserve good things. It can fuel addictions to numb that awful pain, or it can even explode outward as rage and hostility. But if you trace all of these back to their source, it's all driven by that same core belief. I am bad. Let's make this really concrete. Take Amanda's story. She kept finding herself in this heartbreaking pattern of pushing away anyone who treated her well, destroying every healthy relationship she had. And it wasn't because she wanted to be alone, not at all. It was because the kindness and love felt so alien, so undeserved, that her whole internal system just went, nope, and rejected it, all to protect that old, familiar, and painful story of being unworthy. Okay, so if shame is the poison, then what in the world is the antidote? Well, all the research, all the clinical work, it all points overwhelmingly in one direction, and that is the path of self-compassion. But what even is self-compassion? It's actually way simpler than it sounds. It's just about treating yourself with the same kindness, care, and concern that you would show to a good friend. Right? When your friend messes up, you don't call them a worthless piece of trash. You offer them support, understanding. Self-compassion is just learning how to finally give that same gift to yourself. And Dr. Kristen Neff, who's a huge name in this research, puts it so well. She says that self-kindness isn't about trying to fix yourself. It's about a fundamental shift in perspective. It's about seeing yourself as a valuable human being who is worthy of care, period. Right now, exactly as you are.
Now, I know a lot of people resist this idea. There are so many myths out there. We think, oh, that's just self-pity, or that's so selfish, or we worry it'll make us weak and lazy. But actually, the exact opposite is true. Self-pity keeps you stuck in that poor me loop. Self-compassion is active. It asks, what do I need to do to care for myself right now? And the research is clear. It actually makes you more motivated and more resilient, not weaker.
And listen, this isn't just some fluffy, feel-good idea. It is absolutely backed by science. Study after study shows that practicing self-compassion is a powerhouse for healing trauma. It helps people face tough feelings instead of running from them. It literally reduces symptoms of PTSD and anxiety, and it builds the emotional muscle you need to handle whatever life throws at you. Okay, that all sounds great, right? But the real question is, how do you actually start? How do you go from knowing this stuff in your head to actually practicing it in your life? Let's walk through a few simple first steps. Here's a simple but really profound exercise you can try. First, just find a quiet spot. Sit down, get comfortable, and place a hand over your heart. Take a few deep breaths, and maybe imagine your heart filling with a warm, loving light. Then, intentionally, try to bring up a nurturing inner voice. It should be warm, kind, accepting. It could even be the voice of someone who's been kind to you in your life. Now, this is going to feel weird at first, I get it. But what you're literally doing is building a new road in your brain, a pathway of kindness to compete with that old, worn-out highway of self-criticism.
And here's another tool that's incredibly powerful, something you can use every day. The next time you catch yourself spiraling into self-blame, just pause and try reframing your thought with this phrase. Given my history of abuse, it is understandable that I. For example, instead of I'm so stupid for not trusting people, you say, given my history of abuse, it's understandable that I have trouble trusting people. See? It's not an excuse, it's an explanation, and it completely shifts you from a place of judgment to a place of understanding.
Look, this journey of healing from shame, it's not a walk in the park, but the transformation is absolutely life-changing. Just listen to what this client said. Moving from self-hatred to self-acceptance doesn't just make you feel a little better. It changes the entire direction of your life. It opens a door to happiness that shame always told you was locked forever. So, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. Abuse has a way of making you feel like something pure and essential inside of you was broken or stolen. But what if that's not true? What if your innocence was never actually lost? What if that core of goodness has just been buried under all those layers of shame, and it's been patiently waiting for you to come and find it again with a little bit of compassion?